welcome to Texas REIAs. Excited to have you all here with us today. And we've got a lot to go over today. There's been so much in the news about investing lately in all aspects of investing. And in fact, when we give the tip of the week this week, we're going to specifically talk about where we are in the market right now and how you can win in spite of some of the things that are kind of crumbling around us. Real estate has proven to be the one thing that is the safe haven. So we'll talk to you guys about what that looks like and how that's changing and probably will change over the next several weeks and months. But very excited to be here with you all today as we talk about real estate investing. So our association, the thing that we do is every Tuesday we get together, we have a live meeting. We meet in Austin, Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio because we invest in all of those different places and have power teams and local resources and funding and deals and all of those areas. So love to have you guys join us. For those of you guys who are online, you can check us out. Just go to texasreas.com/live. For those of you guys that are here with us, welcome. Excited to be here for you. We like to think we are your source for knowledge, deals, funding, advice, partnering, and coaching. I will tell you that when I first started investing in real estate almost 20 years ago, the first thing I did was exactly what you guys are doing, which is I went to my local real estate investor association. That's where I got the deals, that's where I got funding, that's where I got tribal knowledge, that's where I got a power team, and that's where I was able to become successful because I was able to leverage the results and the systems and the knowledge of people who had already had the results that I wanted. So that's one of the things that we continue to carry that torch and continue to do as part of Texas REIAs. So I always like to say I got my first deal at Texas REIAs. I got my last deal at Texas REIAs. So this group continues to serve the community with deals, with funding, with knowledge. We've had over 80,000 investors join us online, in person, in all of the different cities since the many years we've been running this association. Love to have you guys join us on our socials as well. So it's for those of you guys who are here, I know you were already asked to join us on the socials. The reason why we ask you to do that is because we know that you're going to want information beyond what we're going to be able to give you tonight, and probably some of you guys are, and I'm curious how many of you guys are getting information from the YouTube right now about investing in real estate. So it's okay, we can interact. Okay, yeah, a couple of you guys, all right. Yeah, so Texas REIAs has a YouTube channel. What I pride myself on in the Texas REIAs YouTube channel is the fact that we are all about investing here in Texas. So what happens is when you're listening to other people who sound really good and can really put on an amazing show and make real estate sound so fun and amazing, sometimes they are not in your state. So what that means is you may be listening to someone who's giving you advice that you can't necessarily apply, who's giving you advice and you can't maybe find a power team or funding or deals or access that you can find here as part of Texas REIAs. So if you are interested in investing in Texas, you're at the right place. If you want to go and binge watch YouTube later, you can just follow us on our YouTube channel. For me, I'm not as big of a YouTuber. I'm a podcaster. I like to listen to podcasts when I'm driving, when I'm working out. So we also have that for you as well. So you guys can, no matter how you take your socials and no matter how you take your learning, Mobile University, I think for some of you guys. For me, Gym University and Mobile University. So it's a great way to be able to hear from people who have been investing in this market for years and have been in service of this community. So love to be able to have you guys join us there and take part of all of the what we call tribal knowledge, right? So there's a gap between just knowledge, right, having read a book, and the actual tribal knowledge, actually having done it and know where the potholes are, know the things that you can get yourself in trouble with, as well as all of the different opportunities that are out there. I also want to make sure I will not have done my job if you guys don't have some of the basics. So I want to make sure you guys know where to get the contract. Here in Texas, we can all use the Texas Real Estate Commission contract. It was written by a broker attorney committee, and they update it about every 12 to 24 months based on any court and case law around that. You guys can use that. I know it does intimidate some people because how many pages long is that thing? It's 11. How many blanks are there? There's probably 100. But luckily it's kind of Mad Lib style. So for people who are my age, they remember Mad Libs, and it was, there's some blanks, right? But they give you context clues, like a dollar sign, you're gonna put a dollar amount in there, like a date, you're gonna put a date in there. But I will tell you, some of you guys will be enchanted by this idea of a 1-page or a 2-page contract that you might find online. I will tell you that contract, even though it looks good, think of it as a siren, right? So you're gonna, or the Black Widow, right? As soon as you get close to it, it's going to, or think of it as Mike Tyson, it's going to punch you in the face, right? It might eat off your ear, I don't know. But I don't wanna see that for any of you guys, so please use this contract. I know it's longer, but it covers you in every situation. The way that I like to think of some of these 1-page contracts that you might find online is they're kind of like a hospital gown, right? Kind of like insurance, kind of like a hospital gown. They cover you, mostly, let's just hope that a strong wind doesn't come by and then, reveal some things that you might not want to be revealed. So please, guys, use that contract and don't get intimidated by it. And if you are kind of get intimidated by it just by reading it, then I will tell you this, the fastest way to learn this contract, is to have your company buy your own house. Buy the house you're living in, right? So it'll force you to go through that process, force you to be able to understand it. Because if you don't, how successful do you think you're going to be when you're talking to a seller and trying to get them to sign something that you don't understand? There's a saying in sales, and that is a confused buyer does not buy. It's the same when it comes to real estate, and that is, but it changes just slightly. That is, a confused seller does not sell. So please practice that to make sure that you have it right. Some of the other slides that I have up on the screen right now, for those of you guys who are in person, my podcast folks, this is where you're at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I have the how much we offer as a real estate investor slide up. So I want to make sure you guys know what that looks like, because for us as real estate investors, we make our money on the buy, and if we buy it right, then we're able to make money when we come out and resell this thing in 3 months or in 6 months later. So the formula that we use is 70% of the ARV minus repairs, where ARV stands for after repair value. So that's the value that the house will sell on the MLS, for example, after you've completely fixed it up. The repairs have to be commensurate with that value. So I see a lot of new investors who will put in a make-ready repair number, which is basically duct tape and chewing gum to put the property back together, but they'll pick the highest ARV that's ever happened in the entire street, right? And then they put it on the market and they find that these two things do not match up. So guys, if you're going to use the highest ARV, you need to have those highest repairs. Now, if you use that formula, because a lot of people don't know how much they'll make if they use that formula, so I want to make sure I go through what that looks like as well. That is, typically you make anywhere between 10 to 15% of your ARV. So on a $300,000 house, you should make somewhere between $30,000 and $45,000, depending on what financing you get. So if you're bringing your own financing, maybe your own cash, maybe a self-directed IRA that you're not paying any interest on, then you're going to make on the 15% side, right? If you're bringing in a hard money lender, then you're going to make about 10% of your ARV. The hard money lender is going to take about 5% of their ARV in terms of their fee. Now, don't worry about what it costs you, worry about what it makes you, right? Because I have seen some people say, well, I don't want to go with hard money, it's too expensive. If that 5% off of your ARV is too expensive, then your deal is probably too thin. Your deal is probably too thin, so pay attention to that. I wanted to go through as well, and that's what's on the slide that I have in front of on the screen here, what you pay in terms of your walking through all the steps of your deal. So what you pay at closing costs on the buy, what you pay holding costs all the way through, what you pay at closing costs when you go to resell it. This is why we use that 70% of ARV minus repairs formula. And in this example, I'm saying that you got a hard money loan and you're making about 10% of the ARV. Now this assumes two really big things. What are some of the big things that this assumes? That you nailed your ARV and that you nailed your repairs. And probably my least favorite quote when it comes to real estate and real estate investing is, my renovation project came in on time and on budget. Who said that? No one, ever. right? So just know that every dollar that you hit under your ARV or every dollar you hit over your initial repair budget, that's coming one for one straight out of your profit. For every dollar that you overpay on that initial purchase, that's coming one for one out of your profit. Now, in some markets, for example, where the average price is above $600,000, do you have to use the 70% of ARV minus repairs formula? What might you use instead? In a market where your average price might be $600,000, in fact, in the Austin market, it's like $650,000. You're making somewhere between, we'll say use 600 just for easy math, somewhere between $60,000 and $90,000 on that deal. Now you're taking a lot of risk, right? Because you're buying something that you've got to improve, and there's surprises, right? But in that case, would you still feel pretty good about it if you were making somewhere between $25,000 and $50,000, right? So some people will cut it a little close. The only time that I will say it's okay to cut it close is any time after your first deal. Let your first deal punch you in the face. But there's something that happens when someone's a new investor and they think, oh, this is my first time doing it. So of course my ARV is going to come in right on target. And of course my renovation is going to come in right on budget. I've never done any of this before. And of course my contractor is going to treat me super well. And of course I'm going to finish it at lightning speed because, well, that's what happens on HGTV, right? So if you ever do that, if you ever vary from that offer formula, please just promise me, make a commitment to me and yourself to not do it on your first deal, which is usually where most investors do it. And that's where most investors get a taste of not just the good side of real estate investing, but also the tougher side of real estate investing. So I want to make sure you guys understand that there are a lot of costs that they don't show, for example, on HGTV. HGTV is great to get you excited, to get you interested in real estate, to get you wanting to do it, but they use something called TV math. And TV math doesn't have anything to do with the real profits or losses that you could make on a deal. And real estate is risky. You're taking on the risk of the market. And are we in an interesting, uncertain market right now? Okay, how many of you guys would say yes? Just curious by raise of hands. How many of you guys would say this market's just smooth sailing? Okay, wow. No one's hand's just broken right now? Everyone feels good about this. Everyone feels good about that. Everyone feels good that there's going to be an uncertain kind of rocky road market ahead. Okay. This is interesting. So I'm super stoked. In the next segment, I'm going to share with you the tribal knowledge segment and the tip of the week. So I'm super excited to share that with you guys based on your response here. And I think some of these things are self-fulfilling. Do you think it is? Yeah. This is the only thing everyone is talking about. Yeah, that this kind of feels like this self-fulfilling thing is coming our way. So I'll kind of give you an idea of the way that I see it, having invested through the worst economic crisis we have ever had, some of the sharpest recessions we've ever had, some of the longest great recessions that we've ever had, and someone who's still been able to make it and not have to update my resume or go to work for someone else during this entire time. So I'll share with you what my philosophy is on it, and part of that is really just about getting to work, right? So part of it's really about getting to work, and we'll go through some of the different ways that you can get to work as a real estate investor. And guys, as we talk tonight, I'm kind of curious, who in here is working on a deal? Who in here is working on a project right now? Who in here is working on something? You are. How comfortable would you feel sharing that situation with the rest of us here? That sounds wonderful. Wonderful. Listen, I saw you came in with a drink, so I know you're ready to roll. May I ask, would you join us at the microphone and we can kind of chat about that? Yeah, you can bring your beer. Yeah. Yeah. What's your name, first of all?
Roan.
Roan, awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So my business partner Bill and I have, and I'm not sure I want to disclose this part yet, but access to pre-MLS houses here in Austin, and we've done probably
Don't worry, no one's going to follow you to the parking lot.
10 wholesale deals, maybe.
Okay.
So we've only done, we strictly wholesale.
Okay.
But we're interested in expanding that into some other areas.
Okay.
So, and I'm sure you're going to touch on that later. But,
What's stopped you so far?
from actually flipping and buying ourselves, probably access to capital and just the quick ability to just sell these properties to other flippers and make anywhere from $10,000 to $60,000 for doing nothing.
It is an interesting time in the market right now. And the interesting time, and you've been enjoying that, so congratulations. So there have been situations where I've seen wholesalers make more than the investor who takes the deal to the finish line. There are situations where I see investors who should not be buying some of these wholesale deals, and they're going to lose money on them. Hopefully, those are none of the ones that you guys are selling.
Not yet. Not that we've seen.
So it's heartbreaking, to me. And I've seen in situations where a wholesaler would literally make $5,000 to $10,000 on a deal, but give the end investor numbers that were inaccurate and put that investor in a situation where they might lose $50,000 on a deal, which is awful.
Fortunately, we haven't done that, and we've got repeat buyers.
Yes.
But we have, kind of kicked ourselves because we've underpriced our wholesale.
So, and I will say, the best people to wholesale to, and it sounds like these are your clients, are the buy and holders, the long-termers, right, versus the fix and flippers?
Both.
They've been both, okay. Well, I will tell you that your premium buyers are going to be the long-term buy and hold landlords. Why is that? They don't have to force value in the period of 6 months, right? They don't have to turn over that capital with a hard money lender. They've got time to watch the market do what the market does, which is appreciates over time, right? So those are what I would call premium buyers. When you're wholesaling to a fix and flip buyer, typically they're going to want to pay that 70% of ARV minus repairs, which squeezes your margins. Versus if you're selling to a landlord buyer, to a landlord, a lot of landlords are buying houses right off the MLS, paying full price or above. So if you bring them a deal that's 90 or 95% of ARV minus repairs, they think you hung the moon, right? And that's why you have repeat buyers. So, when you're shopping to your buyers, those are the ones that you shop first because those are the ones that'll typically pay the most.
So we don't have those buyers. So that's, okay, well thank you. We got value out of this, even for being here 15 minutes.
Yes. So, and then I'll tell you how to find those buyers. Kind of a quick and easy way. So if you find that you have a property in a particular neighborhood, then the thing to do is scour the neighborhood for the other landlords that already have properties in that neighborhood, right? So realtors use a system called REAList, and you can basically just plug in on REAList the subdivision of the property and basically say, hey, show me all the non-owner occupants in this neighborhood. And your letter to them basically says, I buy houses, and then in the PS it says, hey, if you're not ready to sell your house, by the way, I've got a bunch of wholesale properties that I'm already marketing. If you would like another cash flowing, appreciating property in a neighborhood that you already have property in, give me a call, let's talk. So then your marketing's doing double duty for you, right? That's good. And for me, I love it when my marketing can just serve more than one purpose for me. It's always good marketing.
Right.
So, but let's go back to, hey, I want to get to the next part on my journey, which is doing it yourself, right? Whether it's being a landlord yourself or whether it's being the fix and flipper yourself. So I heard you say access to capital. Is money looking for deals? Yes, right? So as part of Texas REIAs, we have a whole slew of investors to be thrilled to fund your deal, provided that it is actually a deal, right? And I always say, if any of you guys want free coaching, anyone here want free coaching? Free advice? Yes? Yeah, okay, wonderful. Take your deal to a hard money lender. Yeah, and what are they going to tell you? They're going to tell you really quickly whether or not your deal is a deal or not, right? Because they're going to apply their tribal knowledge. They're going to apply everything that they know about the market, both the things that happen right and the things that happen wrong. But if you have a great deal, we have a ton of lenders that are on our Texas REIA's Facebook page as well. So you can check them out to be able to get. Now, You're paying typically anywhere from 10 to 15% interest. You're paying anywhere from 2 to 5 points, and you're paying the points at the time that you purchase the property. You're paying the interest usually monthly over time. There are a couple lenders that will allow you to pay at the very end, but there are also many lenders who will not only fund your purchase, but also fund your remodel. So if you are tight on cash, right, and just getting started in real estate investing, having both of those things come together, wonderful. And if you don't find someone who will fund both, then you might need a partner with a lot of opportunities to do partnering to be able to walk in someone else's footsteps of someone who's already done the work that you're looking to do. So don't worry about the funding, and I would just say be opportunistic about your deals. For the last 20 years, there are still deals that I'll wholesale from time to time. If it doesn't fit some type of a criteria that I have, depends on my personal load, depends on where I am at financially. So opportunistically, you're always going to be a wholesaler. Opportunistically, you're always going to be a fix and flipper. Opportunistically, you're going to have to do short sales from time to time. You don't want to, but you're probably just going to do them. So just react to what the deal is bringing you. Know that this network has the funding, has the knowledge, has the partnering, et cetera. So I want to make sure that you're aware of that. And then, I will say one thing that I have to mention is, and especially in this market, we got a lot of people who have done really well in life. We got a lot of really educated people who have kicked butt and saved a lot of money. And there's a saying, and someone will tell me who says it. At first I thought it was Shakespeare, but that was really so wrong. But it is, a fool and his money are soon parted. It just sounds Shakespearean, I don't know. But a fool and his money are soon parted. I don't want any of you guys to be that fool. So what that looks like is, even if you have all of your own capital, even if you get excited about doing that deal, right? Either bring your deal to another partner or bring your deal to a lender, even if you have the capital, and ask them, will you fund this deal for me? Because I see too many investors, as they're getting started, just get so excited about the deal and the opportunity that excitement is literally like pulling dollar bills out of their, $100 bills out of their wallet. So please allow a hard money lender, allow someone who's been there, invested there, been investing for 20 years, right? Take a look at it to make sure that you're making the right decision.
I think Ben Franklin said that, as a matter of fact. Speaking of $100 bills.
It's not. So I'm excited for you guys. I'm excited for where you are in your journey. And I'm excited about you guys taking the next step. So are you still working full-time jobs? Are you doing this part-time? Full-time jobs? I was going to say, you're looking at him. Does that mean like,
Do I have a job? No, I do have yes, we do.
Okay. So, okay, understood. Yeah. So when I first started working, I was working a full-time job, and I was doing this on the side. I called it my second shift.
Right.
So around 6 or 7 o'clock when I left my original job, I would work until 10 or so, and then all weekend long I would work in my real estate business until I built that bridge that I was ready to burn those ships, right? So that's how I pursued it as well. Now, I will tell you that a lot of people are very anxious to quit their jobs, and I get that. What I will suggest to you is get a few loans for rental properties while you still have a job, because how likely are you to be able to get a loan to hold on to something at a low interest rate? Okay, if you want to fix and flip loan, you get those all day long. Doesn't matter if you've been doing it, short term, long term. But if you want a low interest rate on either a homestead or a rental property, getting those loans while you are employed will be so much easier, because typically what a lender wants to see is what, you guys tell me, what does a lender typically want to see?
W-2.
2 years tax returns that you've been doing this thing that you want me to lend you money on, right? And 2 years tax returns really means possibly that you've been doing it for maybe 2.5 years, depending on what time in the calendar year you got started, and depending on how timely you file your taxes, right? So lenders are much more excited to lend to someone who has a full-time job than they are to someone who has just started doing real estate. So take advantage of the time that, if you're kind of considering quitting, take advantage of the time that you have with your employer, and the fact that a lot of mortgage brokers who were in a refinance like tidal wave that was beautiful for the last 2 years up until like 3 months ago, right? Now, how many people are refinancing? If you were going to refinance, you would have refinanced, right? So now they're in line and ready to serve you. So something to consider as well. So thank you for joining. I'll let you get back to your Shiner box. So yeah, which is actually my husband's favorite too. So yeah. Thank you for sharing as well. I appreciate that. And do want to make sure that you guys are doing your due diligence. Sometimes I find that a lot of new investors, as they're getting started, don't understand the importance of that. Warren Buffett, so I know who says this quote, his number one rule of investing is don't lose money, right? It's number one rule of it. This is number 2 rule as well. So the way that you make sure that you don't lose money is that you really are very focused on your due diligence. Now, when you're wholesaling and you're not taking title and you're not taking the risk, you can get a little sloppy, right? But if you're sloppy and you're working with another investor who's sophisticated on the other end, they're going to say, please stop wasting my time, your numbers are off or whatever. So it's to your advantage to not be sloppy when you are looking at deals, and even when you are wholesaling deals. Also, so when I go back to this one, so I've got a couple of books up here listed in the last slide that some of you guys saw, some great books for investing. One that I love for those of you guys who are readers is a book called Flip, F-L-I-P. It's written by actually some local Austinites, and it's a pretty comprehensive book. In fact, one of the chapters in there features my husband and one of the flips that he did with one of the authors. So that's a great book to read, just kind of understand about real estate investing, remove some of the hype around real estate investing, give some of the practical guidelines around real estate investing. And also want to make sure you guys know how we can be of service to you as part of Texas REIA's tribal knowledge, practical advice, having those power teams in place, being able to answer those questions, and also compressing your learning curve. So, and with people that live here, work here, invest here. So much more reliable in terms of the type of guidance you're getting on your deals to make sure that you're getting set up properly. So for us, we always say we're Texans teaching Texans how to invest in Texas using strategies that actually work in Texas. It breaks my heart when I see people who are learning from folks in Utah or other states, and they're just like don't have the power teams. And in fact, what I find that they do is they'll send their students, if you will, and they'll say, go to the local REIA, because at the local REIA, you're going to get all the answers that you need for all the different questions that you have that I'm unable to answer because I can only read out of my book or only go PowerPoint deep. So we're excited to be able to be here with you. And I want to play a quick commercial that talks a little bit about the association as well.
Would you like to be a real estate investor in Texas? Come to one of our free local meetings to get access to free training, wholesale properties, capital, and power teams. Click on the link below to find a meeting near you and register for free.
So for those of you guys who are in person with us, obviously you're here at the live meeting. For those of you guys who are online, you can easily join us. Just go to texasreas.com. /live, and you'll be able to see our schedule, so you'll know what that looks like, and be able to join us and pick up some tribal knowledge. And in just a couple of seconds, we're going to end this part of the recording, and we're going to start a new recording. We're going to do, in the next recording, we're going to do some really cool stuff like a market update. So Phil, whenever you're ready to hit end record, we'll get started on the next part. And for those of you guys online, thanks for joining us.